Hello and welcome to the Snickerdoodle Knits YouTube channel. I am Jessica, the knitting designer and teacher behind Snickerdoodle Knits. In this video, I'm going to be talking all about the United States flag dishcloth. This is a pattern that I recently designed and have released, and so I'm just going to go through the pattern, what it's about, and all the details. And then of course, if you still have questions, go ahead and leave those in the comments down below. So, as you can tell, the flag is inspired by the United States flag. I'm hoping to have a collection of flags later that we have a variety of countries from around the world represented in the collection. But for now, we just have the United States flag. It is, at the time of this release, it is almost July 4th, which here in the United States is the day that our country celebrates Independence Day. Now, I do want to say just a little bit about Independence Day and how its meaning has evolved for me over time. And if you've been a part of these conversations, maybe it's evolved for you too. So just over the past few years, I've gotten more aware of perspectives of other people within our country, and specifically Native Americans and Black people around the holiday that is Independence Day. And so of course, with the colonization of the United States, the formation of the United States, there was a lot of violence that happened towards Native Americans. And then a little bit later on in our history, especially with slavery, with Black people. And so I know that this is a holiday that we don't all necessarily want to celebrate, and we can also change what the holiday means for ourselves. So for me, what I have at the moment decided the 4th of July is about is it's a good reminder for me to remember the freedoms and privileges that I have as within the United States that I might not have in other parts of the world, but also a reminder that we can still do better in our country, a reminder that our history is not perfect, and that there are other stories beyond the white story within the United States. And so it's just a reminder to me, which of course these are things that I think we should think about all of the time, but just a reminder to me to listen to those voices, to help those people that still don't have the same rights and privileges that I do. So that's just my little bit about the 4th of July that I have found helpful just to learn about for myself over the last few years. And so definitely recommend looking into more resources talking about that, because obviously I'm not an expert in that topic. But anyway, the flag itself, of course, is representative of the United States flag, and so it's quite a simple pattern, mostly just working stripes, and then we have this blue section. So the pattern itself includes 3 different construction options. You can work, well, I should start with option 1. Option 1 is working this blue section here as stockinette, but working the stars as stranded color work. So you hold your white yarn here behind throughout this whole section. So then you're just working your stars at the same time as the blue section. One little caveat on that is, even though you have white over here, you want to have a separate ball or bobbin or end of white yarn for this section. I do not recommend trying to use the same white for the stripes as for the stars. So what I did, or what I would do if I were doing it, I would pull from the center of the ball for one of the two and pull from the outside for the other. Now option 2, which is what I did for this dishcloth, is to work the stars as duplicate stitch. So what I did was I worked the blue section just as stockinette, and then I went over and used duplicate stitch to create the stars. I like that it creates a really nice finishing in the back, and I don't think it's nearly as fiddly to work. but it does mean that once you're done with your dishcloth, you still have some work to do. You still have to put those on. Now the third option is to just omit the stars altogether. So then we just work the whole thing as garter. Of course, then you're missing the stars, but the nice thing there is that when you work the stockinette, that's going to have to be a different gauge than your garter. That's just the way the fabrics work. So this requires a little bit more blocking. When you work the garter, your gauge is going to be exactly the same, and that's not a big issue. It's also going to be the simplest way to work this project, because when you work stockinette, you will have to purl back on the wrong side rows here. So those are the three options for construction, and then there's also two sizes. So there's the small size, and then there's a large size. And this is actually supposed to be the small size, but I accidentally did a few extra stitches wide, so it's wider than it should be. And then, let's see. Oh, so I was gonna say that because there are three sizes, three options, construction options, and two sizes, it makes the pattern quite long. So it's very simple, but the different instructions between the options and the sizes are not the same, so then it makes the pattern long. So when you open up the pattern PDF, it looks very long, which might feel intimidating. But for whatever you're working, you really only have 2 pages of instructions that you need to be concerned about. And you can take a look, there's a table of contents on page 3 of the pattern that will tell you where you need to go. But the written instructions start on page 4, and the charted instructions start on page 9, I believe. So you will need to read that page. That gives you the information for starting the stripes. And then you will just need to hop to the page that has the specific option instructions for the part that includes the blue up above. So it really is quite simple, and you can get the pattern for free when you join my email list, so that link will be down below. Or if you don't want to join the email list, totally understand, the pattern is available for purchase on all of the places that I sell my patterns. So currently that is Ravelry, Lovecrafts, and my website. And all those links, well, the link to the overview pattern page will be linked in the description down below, and that link will include links to all of the places. So I really hope you enjoy this project. I think it's a lot of fun, a nice quick knit. I love working these small projects for summertime, when you don't really feel like having a whole bunch of wool that's all big and bulky. It's nice and warm, but that's not necessarily what we want in the summer. So I hope you really enjoyed this pattern. If you have any questions, please leave those down in the comments below. I'm happy to answer those. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you a nice insight about the pattern, and I hope you enjoyed the knit. So if you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Snickerdoodle Knits YouTube channel. I have knitting tutorials for different techniques that I use within my patterns, and a design overview video just like this one for all of my patterns. So I hope to see you around, and happy knitting!